been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down, standing in the pouring rain.
What's going on, guys? Tristan and Tony back with another episode of the One Hell of a Life Outdoor Podcast, and we got some turkey talk coming to you today with Andrew with the Georgia Wild Turkey Project, a page I came across on Instagram just promoting conservation and hunting and just good ethics and stuff like that. And we're excited to take the time to talk to Andrew tonight, and I'm excited he has the time to talk with us. Thanks for coming on tonight, man.
Yeah, thanks, Tristan and Tony. I mean, it's crazy. You guys are just down the road. We found out a few minutes ago, but yeah, man, this is my first podcast, and excited to be on talking turkeys with you guys.
Yeah, man. Well, I just was looking online and just trying to find Georgia turkey content and just pages and stuff like that, and came across your page, and I thought, most recently you had that post about turkey hunting etiquette, and I saw that and I was like, okay, this is somebody that like really cares about, promoting turkeys and doing things the right way. So.
And killing turkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. No, man. And you're a prime example of what we love so much about this podcast, dude. We have had, not to get too far off track, but one of the funnest things that Tristan and I have about this is, one, the education that we learn from people. I mean, we've learned so much. And then secondly is, it blows my mind that, I don't have the mental stability to like see more than 3 or 4 posts at a time, within a 30-second window. And the rate that you younger people keep up with each other just blows my mind, And as soon as Tristan talked about you, I was like, dude, look, there's a whole lot of other people like Tristan and I that need to hear from people like you that know what the hell you're doing. And you're promoting the sport in such a positive way. You've got the old school values is something that we're big on, and I just think it's a great platform for folks like you just to get on here and just say, hey, look, dude, man, I'm just a regular guy out here whooping turkeys' asses.
Yeah, and like I did a little bit of research. Tried to listen to some of your podcasts before I came on, and I came across the one that you guys did with Emily, who's the state turkey biologist last year. Yeah. I think it was last year.
Yep.
Yeah. That was
and I mean, that's the kind of stuff that, is great information that I think, I'll probably share it on my page at some point, just that, just kind of the state of the union of what's going on in Georgia and the population decline and the regulation changes. That's really good information. So I just want to give you guys props for putting that one out there. And
thanks,
I wish
man.
I'd come across it last year. I would have definitely shared it sooner.
Well, I appreciate it, man. We really last year was the first, because when we first started, it was the Zero Duck 30 podcast, and that's like we are like kind of hunting pages, I guess, or Zero Duck 30 and Zero Buck 30, but we found ourselves kind of wanting to encompass everything with the podcast. So that was like one of the first.
Well, that kind of started with Tristan said, we're going to do it every week. And I was like,
yeah,
every week.
Can't talk about ducks for 52 weeks. But anyway, that was kind of one of those first podcasts after that. And it's taken some time to get people like, they don't just talk about ducks all the time.
Right.
So that podcast didn't get a lot of listens really comparatively, but I thought it was really neat too, and thankful that Emily took the time to talk with us.
Yeah, and kind of what she was saying is, part of the reason that I wanted to start a page that could help, I guess, educate people. They have all these biologists and stuff giving out all this data, but it's kind of a lot to process and read, and you kind of, if you listen to it or read it, you don't really understand what's going on. So I was just trying to maybe relay that information in a more matter-of-fact way, so that people could just see a post and be like, oh, okay, maybe I should be concerned about my nesting or brooding habitat on my property, so I can hopefully have an increase in turkey population. So
yeah, and while you're kind of on that, if you wouldn't mind just kind of going into a little bit more detail of what kind of motivated you to start the page, and maybe without going into too many details, just what got you into hunting and where that passion came from.
Yeah, I've been hunting my whole life, and I'm no turkey expert or hunting expert or anything like that. I grew up deer hunting with my dad and my brother, and you know, I'm about like you guys. I love to duck hunt, love to deer hunt, and then I guess, man, ever since college, really, turkey hunting has kind of taken the forefront. If you can even imagine that. Georgia's not a great duck hunting state, so that probably had something to do with it.
Oh, come on.
But really, man, the turkeys, man, they kicked my butt for so many years, and I'm a pretty competitive guy. I just got so annoyed with losing to a turkey. It made me just obsessed with trying to learn on, you know, what I'm doing wrong, how to set up better, how to essentially kill them better, which is kind of a weird thing to say. You love something so much as hunters, you know.
Right.
Ultimately, we're taking the life of an animal, but it's, you know, it's kind of the way that God intended creation. I mean, everything has to die, and a quick, clean death is really the best way for an animal to die. So, kind of got off in the weeds there, but
no, it's a good point.
No, for sure.
Really just trying to get better and learn. You know, this was before social media really and podcasts, so I just was reading a lot of books and stuff like that. And you know, 15 years later, I feel like I've learned some valuable things, but still don't have it figured out. But maybe just try to like put some information out there that I wish I would have had, you know, when I was first starting out. Maybe like you said, the ethics, and maybe a little more on turkey biology and how the bird behaves and what kind of habitat is good for them. And that's really it, man.
Yeah. And I know the habitat, and just from talking to Emily, the habitat and the predators and stuff, I want to get into those rabbit holes a little bit today too. But I know just like you were talking about with maybe motivating somebody to manage their land a little bit better, there's so much that goes into keeping these birds, you know, where they make it to being a mature age, you know, and just stuff I had no idea about, just the predators and stuff that they have, you know, not just like coyotes, like the stuff that'll come and eat their eggs, like raccoons and possums and whatever. But
I think you bring up a great point, you know, and we'll talk about predation and stuff. We talked a little bit about it in the last podcast, but you know, think about the majority of hunters, and I'm victim to this, right? We go through hunting season, and like one of the things I love about snow goose season is it makes me feel like I'm hunting when I shouldn't be. All right, because it's just, and then you can just shoot as many as you want, you know, and that's fun. And but then, you know, traditionally my season had always ended after duck season, right? Or even back in the day when all I did was deer hunt, it used to end on the 31st of December every year, you know? So, but I love the fact that you can go out after hunting season's over and predator hunt, depending on what the state regulations are, trap, you know, and the people that I've talked to that have got a very sound predator management program, it's kind of like, well, duh. Okay. Like if I owned property, it would be a no-brainer, right? I mean, like, this is what you need to do to keep the predation down, right? From all the predators. But when you go, here's where I'm going with this. On public land, okay, most of us are done after our main winter hunting, okay? And then we forget about the stuff that we can do to go help manage the predators. Mm. You know, like go out and coyote hunt, you know, or whatever it is after the season. And isn't it incredible how you go to certain places, no matter where it is, and we got quota places here in Georgia as well, where say the turkey population is super high. And you just wonder, is that because there's some people out there that are like the linemen of the football team that are out there just smoking these predators to help that population?
Right. Or if it's
it could be
the environment that
Or,
helps.
I mean, they're going to be, if there's that many turkeys, right? The predators are going to figure it out if there's enough.
Right. But if it's like the way that lamb lays out, if it, you know, helps, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I'm just saying we think about it how so much on the private land side, but do we do it on the public land side enough? So, but maybe so, maybe not. Anyway.
Yeah, I have talked to like no one important, but just fellow turkey hunters, and that's been one of those things that has come up. So on private land, you can trap year round for like coons and shoot coyotes, stuff like that. But on public land, that's not the case. So that's kind of been something on some of our brains lately, is just maybe making more of an effort to get some regulations changed to where you can trap on public land more. They probably won't ever let year round happen, but and then like certain WMAs you can't even shoot coyotes. Like
What?
the one I was talking about with you, Tony, where we cross paths. You can't even hunt coyotes until like after May 15th or something, which part of that's probably turkey season, but there's only a few months you can shoot coyotes out there.
Really?
And when are
I
those?
didn't know that.
What are those months?
I want to say it's like the end of May and maybe June. It's not very long to my knowledge.
So what about October, November, and December last year? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
I don't know what you did out there.
That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Well, it's fun. I mean, it's lucky one didn't come by because
No, but that's nuts because I grew up in a state that it's basically you see one in your yard, you can just pull a 45 out and smoke that.
I don't know about all that, but
well, I mean, I'm being over dramatic here. I'm just saying that basically there's an outlaw on them. I mean, like just like pigs in Florida, right? You can just shoot them year round. You got to stay within the rules and guidelines of being away from
not pulling out a 45 in a neighborhood.
No, you can't do that. You cannot do that. I do not condone any 45 shooting in a neighborhood ever. But let's talk about that for a minute, Andrew. So tell it from your perspective. So we just got talking before the podcast and we're catching up how close we are together. And then
distance wise.
Yeah. And Andrew drops a bomb on me. He goes, but actually, Tony, we met out at this one WMA. And he said, was it you and your wife or girlfriend?
Yeah, it was me and my wife. I think, we had just moved to that area. And so I'd never hunted that piece of public land before. And I think we were just walking around trying to get the lay of the land and seeing what sign we could come across. And then I think there might have been someone with you, but we came across you pretty deep in the woods.
Selena was with me, my niece from Germany.
Yeah. That was
dude. Sorry,
funny.
Selena. No, she's actually getting ready to come here again. But that's exactly right. Yeah, it was my first time. I said, "Do you want to go?" Was it after season? Or
I think it was. It might have been right before season,
maybe
or something like that.
She just wanted to go see. Can we go see if we can see a deer? And I'm like, yeah, come on, I'll go show you where, a lot of places that we hunt. That's exactly right. Now, dude, and that did not even hit home when we were talking about this before we got on the podcast. But go ahead. No, so we ran into each other and, super nice people. I remember go back to Tristan and say, man, I ran into these really nice folks out there. It's definitely the type of people that you want to associate yourself with, But what a small freaking world, man.
Yeah, it is. I recognize the 0 duck 30 and 0 buck 30 hat you had on when I was on you guys' page, and I was like, oh man, that's the guy that I ran across, and I just remember it was, nothing but a positive interaction. So
yeah, definitely, man. I thought the same thing. I thought, hey, these guys are out here doing the work too. You know what I mean? It's always cool. I'm just fond of women in the outdoors just because of my mom. And, and so anytime I see husbands involving their wives, like my daughter-in-law loves it, and I've gotten Selena and my daughter went and sat in a deer blind. They had no weapons and they did have alcohol, but however you get people into the outdoors, right?
Yeah. And I'll say a funny fact. My wife has actually killed a bigger buck than I have, so
yeah,
she gets to She gets the prime
Dude.
spot on the wall.
That's awesome, man.
For those about to rock, we salute you. That is awesome. So you got to tell a story now. What was it? What'd she do? Where was it? Kind of give some details now.
Man, it was before we met. Her dad's a big deer hunter. And I mean, so actually our families have kind of known each other for years, but, and it was through hunting. Our dads knew each other. But I think she killed it maybe with a muzzleloader. And it's way bigger than any buck I've killed. So
fair enough, man.
Yeah, everyone who comes over to our house is like, "Man, Andrew, that's a nice buck on the wall," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's not mine."
Unless your wife's not home.
Yeah,
that's awesome stuff. Good for you guys, man. What a great thing to have a common interest in doing something like that, man.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I've been fortunate enough to get my wife. Well, she wasn't a hunter before we met, but just to be able to share some times in the duck blind over the last 2 or 3 years, and it's definitely a blast being able to do that with your significant other. You know.
Oh yeah, no, that's one thing I did get her into was duck hunting a few years ago, and so actually on her birthday this year, I asked what she wanted to do, and she said go duck hunting. So that's what we did.
Where do you guys go? Like what state?
We go in Georgia, so man, we're just shooting some woodies and some mergansers, and this year actually, I guess for the cold weather or whatever, we might have killed more ringnecks than anything. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah,
for Georgia at least.
Yeah, no kidding, man. We always talk about so my parents' backyard here, they have this basically this small, it's like a small pond lake that everyone lives on, and
it's like
more of
8 acres or something like that.
Yeah, and it's amazing the stuff. He sends me videos like all the time because he'll be like, "There's 2 gadwall out here, there's a redhead out here," like. But you know, for Georgia being such a quote like flyover state, the amount of stuff that he sees back there, teal, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, dude, mark my words, it's always right around my birthday, which is coming up in a few weeks. And last year, I remember I was sitting out here and I go, me. And I went, get the shit out of here, dude. And I got my binoculars. I'm like, there's a freaking stud drake with 2 hens. I'm like, dude's balling. Like usually you'd see like two drakes and a hen, right? But he had 2 hens with him, and it was like March 27th or 8th or something. And I'm just going, dude, these birds just still amaze me.
And just point being, like to your point about shooting those ringnecks, it's like at the end of the day, it's like you kind of never really know because they still do come through here, just not like the other states, you know?
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah,
man.
it seems like, you can tell when you shoot. Even with the wood ducks we shoot, you kind of get one good shoot opening weekend, and then we really don't have much success until probably after Christmas when you get some good cold fronts, and you can actually, tell there's a lot more birds that push down. Even though people say there's no migration, we can tell there's at least a little bit.
Oh yeah, and you'll see people. I'm sure you've seen, Andrew, like people that'll kill a band in Georgia that'll be from North Carolina or what. It's people are always killing banded wood ducks.
I've seen banded wood ducks from like the Great Lakes area.
Yeah,
I killed one from Ohio a few years back.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that's your proof right there.
That's right. That's right.
And it was the last day of the season, I think.
What's going on, guys? If you're planning a spring break visit to the Florida Panhandle, down there by the Gulf of America, then make sure you book a charter with Williamson Outfitters. From March to May, Williamson Outfitters offers amazing inshore fishing, awesome flounder gigging, epic hog hunting with dogs. They also have an incredible hunting lodge in East Point, Florida that's available. Spots fill up fast, so book today. Call or text 850-251-8650 or visit floridaducks.com. Mention you heard about them on this podcast and get 10% off. Wow, really? Sweet.
Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, we haven't had a lot of luck really duck hunting in Georgia outside of down along the coast. And that's few and far between. Just now being up here, it's hard to get down there and scout, and but we've lucked out a couple times, had some decent hunts down there, but not so much up here. pretty much hit the road.
Now, let me tell you what's going on in Georgia. I've been figuring this out, and especially after some data that I've been just in the last year that I've been hearing from different people, and I've been kind of adding it all up. Listen, Georgia, you do a damn good job of protecting your little honey holes, whether private, even private, dude. People will be like, "Do you duck hunt?" Be like, "No." You don't even admit you duck hunt, and those guys are the guys that are out there like, dude, I shot 4 banded mallards and a black duck this morning, and and they were all drakes, and we passed on all the wood ducks and got our head buzzed by 50 blue-winged teal, and it didn't matter, but I really believe that there are pockets. There's small pockets, and I know some facts. I mean, I know somebody just about probably about hour and a half, 2 hours south of where we live, that it's part of a commercial property, but they have intel on it, and there's all kinds of ducks on that thing, like crazy amounts, so it's pretty cool, dude. I mean, I do think that we got some pockets here and there in Georgia that are good. But Tristan, what was the stat you were saying? The number 1 waterfowl?
Yeah, so you'll get a kick out of this, Andrew. I was down at Sitka, Atlanta the other day because Delta Waterfowl had like a little meeting thing there and just like hang out or whatever. And they were talking about Georgia waterfowl, and they go, "What's the number 1 bird killed in Georgia?" Everyone goes, "Wood duck." And they're like, "No, it's a Canada goose." And they said that back in the 50s or 60s, the state of Georgia made a trade with New York for sandhill cranes, which I guess maybe south part of Georgia we have, I don't know, but apparently it was 500 geese, and they brought them down, and we sent like a few dozen sandhill cranes or something, and I guess the sandhill cranes migrated back, but the geese never did, and the bloodline of all these geese you see around everywhere, I guess, can be traced back to those original 500 geese, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. That's pretty interesting.
I know. I was like, that's a one for the trivia game. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But, well, cool, man. Well, we're gonna get back on the turkey topic since we could get on a tangent about ducks for 3 hours. That's what we normally do. But
no, and I got
sorry to change the topic.
No, dude, we love talking about it.
No, and I've got a great lead into this. Look, dude, you wanted to, at some point, I know you say you've been hunting all your life, but at some point you decided to take this like really serious with turkey hunting. If you're somebody new, or if you're dumb, like Tristan and I, when it comes to turkey hunting, you don't know anything about it, dude, kind of walk somebody through like your version of what you do to go out and try to be successful in whether it's private land or public land.
Yeah, I mean, really the first thing is just try to find an area that has a good turkey population.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all that stuff's pretty readily available through the state of Georgia. You can look up harvest records and all that. But I would say the number 1 thing is if you can find a mentor or a buddy or somebody who has actually, killed some turkeys before and kind of seems to know what they're doing. There's just a lot of kind of small things that you'll probably pick up on just being in the woods with them. Everyone thinks you got to be a grand national turkey calling champion to kill a bird. You really don't. I mean, like anybody would probably tell you, it's probably, I don't know, 75-80% woodsmanship. I mean, you guys are probably pretty good woodsmen. Just kind of being able to read the topography and read a map and kind of know, like, okay, if I hear a bird in this direction, how am I going to get to him without being seen? I'd say those are some of the key things.
Good points. Very good points.
And really, I mean, with YouTube and podcast, I mean, you can learn everything you need to learn to kill a turkey in probably a month, I'd say. Which is, you hear all the old timers complain about how there's too much information out there now. I mean, yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I went probably 6 or 7 years without killing a turkey. But
man,
you know, you can't change what's going on in our world right now. So if you want to learn, you can watch tons of YouTube videos and listen to a lot of podcasts. And I mean, there's some experts. I'm no expert. There's some real experts out there that can tell you what to do. But I mean, woodsmanship and patience and finding a huntable turkey population is probably some of the main things.
That's a great advice, man.
Man, that is.
We were just talking about your point, how some of the older guys feel and stuff like that about, information being available and quote too many hunters and all these kind of things. And it's one of those double-edged swords, right? Which is going to lead me into what I'm going to ask here in a second, your thoughts on. But it's just one of those things, right? It's like, as hunters, we're kind of, the odds are stacked against us all the time with non-hunters and just people that just are indifferent to it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like one of those things that we need funding, which is like you need hunters. So it's a, double-edged sword when you get in like Pittman Robinson and all that kind of stuff. But one thing I wanted to bring up, that one of your recent posts, I think it's awesome. This Georgia House Bill 432 with charging out-of-staters $100 to turkey hunt. I mean, I think it's awesome just for funding of
being funny
of program. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one key thing there is they're going to require you to get a turkey permit. So kind of like, like your HIP permit when you go duck hunting.
Mm-hmm.
That way they'll actually be able to track exactly how many people are turkey hunting. I think that's good data to get. Because I think before it's just like, if you got a big game license, you can hunt turkeys. So you don't really know who's actually hunting and who's actually not.
Mm.
So I think that just might help.
Or without just you doing your check-in through your harvest record, you're not physically tagging the turkey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I've heard other people kind of talk about going back to the physical tags and stuff too, which I don't know. It kind of just comes down to like, if you're gonna cheat the system, you're probably gonna do it anyways. But
yeah, for sure.
But back to the charging out of staters and stuff. Pretty much every state, it seems like, is going that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen the popularity of turkey hunting over the past, say, 5 years.
Sure.
It just seems like it's skyrocketed. And with, some states having declining turkey populations, you kind of got to try to, create a barrier to entry. But at least if someone's going to come from out of state, at least get some money from them that's going to turn around and help fund some research and projects to hopefully make turkey population better.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's
Boom.
kind of the way I look at it. I don't know exactly where the money's going to go, but hopefully it's being put to good use and is actually, hopefully it's boots on the ground stuff that we can see a difference made in the future.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's always a method to that madness. Guaranteed that this has all been outlined. Like, you probably have to dig, just like in finding any state documents about anything. You're going to have to do your research. You're going to have to maybe go to the courthouse, whatever you got to do to figure it out. But somebody has sat down and said, hey, this is why we're going to do this. They didn't just say, hey, let's just start doing it.
Yeah.
And they're like, the governor's like, you know what? F it. Let's do it. You know what I mean? No, there's a method to the madness. And those, like, there's probably percentages, like, out of that $100, just like anywhere else in the United States, they're going to take some of that. It's going to go here. Some of it's going to go here. XXX. You know what I mean? And I think it's great. If we're known to be a good turkey hunting state, bro, every other state out there that's known to be a good whatever hunting state is capitalizing. Why can't we? You know what I mean? So good for Georgia.
One of the things I thought was interesting from when I talked with Emily is I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say in the 90s, and I could be screwing this up, but like every brood of turkeys or whatever, that they would average like, I think 3 or 4 that would make it to adulthood, and now in Georgia it's like 1.9 or 1.7 or something.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Yeah,
Justin.
I think it used to be 4. And I think when you did the podcast, you said it was like 1.5.
Yeah.
And I think or they did another one this year with a different podcast, but she was on it and she said it increased to like 1.75.
Well,
But
good.
like what all the scientists say is to have an increasing population, you need to have at least 2 poults per hen. So we're kind of still behind the 8 ball, but hopefully that number just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, and I mean, if you just kind of want to give a nutshell, Andrew, like if somebody's on private land listening to this, just some of the stuff you've heard that would be good practice to implement from a predator standpoint, or whether it's burning land to, for nesting and what, food and all that kind of stuff, can you go into some of that?
Yeah. I think some big things, or one thing you'll hear people say is no mow May, which is like everyone's got their food plots and fields. May is when turkeys, lay their eggs and sit on the nest. So hens aren't going to leave the nest. And a lot of times they use those overgrown fields or food plots to lay their nest. So a lot of people say don't bush hog your overgrown fields, or really any field, until later, maybe in June or July, just because you have an increased chance of running over some turkey eggs or turkey poults. So that's a really easy one to do. It doesn't really cost you anything. Maybe just, the time that you're going to have to delay in mowing your fields.
Well, I would imagine, I want you to keep going, but one thing I think of is, they talk about the quail population in the state of Georgia and how it's basically in shambles compared to what it used to be. And one of the main reasons is we don't have any of these like natural savannas anymore. And, they don't have ground nesting birds, don't have anywhere to go. And I would imagine with turkeys in the spring, it's cover from predators, the same way it would be for quail as well.
Yeah, from what I've heard, they're pretty closely related. Like Emily said on your podcast, like you should be able to throw a tennis ball on the ground and not be able to see the tennis ball. And like in today's age, everyone likes their perfectly manicured property. They want it looking clean. They want their, pine plantations. They want them all nice and tidy, but really that's pretty terrible turkey habitat.
Sure.
So even just like, letting some stuff grow up, burning, that helps create good habitat. Even like when they thin out some really dense woods and open up that canopy to let some new growth come in, that's some good stuff. I think, we talked about trapping. My father-in-law is a big trapper, and he says that he can see a direct relation from when he started trapping to an increase in turkey population on his property. And I've heard lots of other people say that. So I think especially around the nesting season, if you can trap pretty hard and make a dent in that predator population, the science kind of says it doesn't really affect it, but from firsthand accounts, I've heard a lot of people say that they really think it matters.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't see why it wouldn't. I mean, I couldn't imagine why it wouldn't. I mean, you're taking you're playing an odds game and you're giving the turkey better odds. So, I mean, it's worth it, I think.
Yeah, and I think too, like, baiting deer is legal in Georgia, and that kind of creates a oasis for the coons and possums. We've really made predator habitat really attractive the past couple of years. So, I don't know what that looks like to make it change or make it any better, but maybe don't feed all year round so those predators spread out a little bit, because turkeys are coming to those same feeders, so they're just kind of putting a target on their back as well.
That's a good point. And I don't know, I feel like I may have even talked to Emily about this. I don't remember for sure, but I know one of the things I think I've heard with turkeys, I know for sure with just in corn in general, like if corn's left out and gets like moldy, it can be bad. I know for like killing animals, because they eat that and then end up getting sick. So I wonder how much you bring up feeders. I wonder if that plays a role with turkeys eating, bad corn.
Yeah, it's called like aflatoxin or something like that. And yeah, I've heard that turkeys and other animals can get, I think deer can even get sick from that also.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, man. And kind of back to the fundamentals of being a turkey hunter. I saw you put this post up the other day, turkey hunting etiquette. What does that kind of look like to, like, if you had to give a 1 or 2 minute commercial to a new turkey hunter, listen to this, that's going to go out in the woods this fall, what would you tell them, or this spring, what would you tell them, as far as quote turkey hunting etiquette?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to respect. So like first, you definitely want to respect your fellow hunter. So public land, it's kind of a little different than deer hunting maybe. If you get beat to a gate or a spot and there's only 300-400 acres behind that gate, like you need to have a plan B and go to a different spot, because 2 people, trekking across that thing it's just not good. Turkey hunting, you can cover a lot of ground. So if you get beat to a spot, I'd say go somewhere else. Have respect for your hunter. Then I think respect the bird. To me, that means, with TSS, you can take, people claim you can kill birds at 90 yards, blah, blah, blah. I think the distance kind of is irrelevant. It's just take ethical shots. Like, know you're going to kill the bird when you shoot. You don't want to wound a bird and have to blood trail it. So just taking ethical shots. And then, it kind of grinds my gears, but just seeing people being disrespectful with not just turkeys, but any dead game animal that, we dedicate all this time and effort to hunt and kill. Just like if you're going to take a video doing something disrespectful to the bird, maybe don't post that on social media. It doesn't look good for you. And if somebody's not a hunter, that's really not going to look good. So
yeah. As
hunters, we just need to kind of be above reproach on stuff like that and just respect the bird. And then, easier things, respect the laws and respect the habitat, pick up your trash, and don't break any rules when you're turkey hunting.
Dude, stop there for a second. Pick up your trash. Tristan knows how big I am about that, but what I want to add on that is pick up everybody else's trash. All right, like literally, like me, Tristan, and my daughter-in-law spent one evening just enjoying ourselves on Lake Lanier, but we were like, gosh, dude, if we just spent 15-20 minutes and pick this stuff up, the next person doesn't have to see this whatever junk it is there on the shoreline. Or if you're especially on private land, look, pick up the trash you see, because you don't want that farmer or that landowner to think, well, Tristan just walked right by that and didn't pick that up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Was that his?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So just it's amazing. I think Georgia, people do such a great job, and Georgia even has organizations that go out to their WMAs and just do like cleanup, trash pickup and stuff like that. I just wanted to hone in on that just for a minute and make a point about it, because I think we could all do better at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're given this great free, may not be free, but it's basically free resource for us to go enjoy.
Yeah.
The least you can do is just not throw your trash on the ground.
Make it prettier.
Or pick up somebody else's trash. It's not that hard.
Make it prettier. It might be the very first time somebody goes out there, and I just wanted to talk on that. So, no, good stuff.
Yeah, and kind of like a side note, I don't know if you guys have seen, there's 2 pretty big chunks of WMAs that the city of Atlanta owns. And they're thinking about, I guess, turning them into airports or selling them or whatever. But
oh man,
yeah. So like, if city officials go out there and they see that piece of land all trashed and stuff, they're not going to think twice about, oh yeah, these people don't respect this land. We don't need to keep it around for them. We can sell it and make a profit, or turned into airport, whatever. So,
Well, it would ruin the WMA south of it
yeah.
as well. So, I mean, that is a very prestigious, a very beautiful piece of land that is very well managed by the state of Georgia, or the city of Atlanta, whoever is putting in the funds to take care of that area. It is a very beautiful area. We go there off season, and go berry picking and everything else. I mean, it's beautiful, and man, that would be a shame. And if we don't stand up about it, you're right. I mean, people just go, well, nobody cares, so we'll go ahead and do something else here.
Yeah.
What's your take, Andrew, on, it's been a buzz in the turkey hunting community, this whole scoot and shoot, and like the, because there's the traditional, like,
it's like life scope.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's freaking about it, dude.
Everyone, like, the quote, like, pure, like, traditional turkey hunting methods, like, you're playing this game with the bird and you're fooling them and calling them in, and you're kind of, it's a little bit different tactic, huh, with the scoot and shoot deal.
No, but half them my Georgia Southern almost came out. Half of you folks that do that are the ones that have a freaking deer decoy out in front of you, or you're like, oh, I'm going to go pronghorn hunt one day. Well, how do you do it? Well, you stand behind this little thing that looks like a pronghorn. It's in the teens that morning, and maybe you're chasing ducks or geese, but now it's September and it's 85 degrees and you're hunting early teal or geese. As a waterfowler, you need dependable weather protection that will not break the bank. Founded in 1996, Frog Togs is not only the leader in breathable wader technology, but a company you can depend on to keep you warm and dry, head to toe, no matter your hunting environment. Stay bone dry by using discount code ZD315 for 15% off not only your first purchase, like most discount codes, but how about every single purchase you make from now until December 31st, 2024?
The Montana decoy or whatever.
Yeah. You stand behind it and you just stalk up right behind your guide and you shoot them. And it'd be the same person, but I just think it's funny. But no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, man, it's a huge debate. I'm not gonna lie. When I was younger, I saw it on TV and I was like, man, that really works. I'm gonna try it. And the one time I've done it, I kind of felt like, that feeling if you're not really breaking the law, but you're not sure if you're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the feeling I got when I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So after that point, I was like, man, I'm just not going to do it. There's definitely, you can hear Mike Chamberlain, the Wild Turkey Doc from UGA, whoever, you can hear them say there's definitely some kind of reaction that turkeys have to seeing, a reaping decoy, whatever. I don't know. Really, it's not safe. You hear it in the news. People get shot every year doing it. Mm. Personally, I think it's kind of taking the easy way out. If you can sleep at night doing it that way, I guess it's fine. But my personal opinion is I would be perfectly fine if, especially on public land, I think they should outlaw it just for safety.
It's almost like if it made it legal that you could sit in the decoy spread with a decoy on your head and shoot the ducks right in front of you, or smack them with a tennis racket or something. Would you do it? I kind of see your point.
Yeah.
I kind of see your point, and I haven't really felt this way about it until the way you explained it.
It's like, yeah, right. And
safety, number one, that caught me. Boom. I was like, oh, shit, yeah. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you've got 10,000 acres of private land and you want to take your friend hunting and you got a good healthy turkey population, I'd say go knock yourself out. It works, but even private land, if you got like 300 acres of private and you're crawling up on a turkey in a field with a full strut decoy by your head and your neighbor's hunting too close to the line and shoots at that thing, that's not going to be good.
Right. Right.
So personally, I think it's kind of a cop out and kind of taking the easy way out, but I mean, I'd be a hypocrite if I said I've never done it. So,
Well, all I know about it
yeah.
is when I've tried to do it, they ran away. So I obviously wasn't doing it right.
Well, and let me group this into a previous conversation I've had, and I had a big conversation about this with somebody really cool. Look, it's all about hunting in general. All right, now think about this in full. Like, I'm gonna give you guys like a 1 minute commercial on this. If if I grew up shooting a recurve bow with wooden arrows, and I had to use resin to put my tips, I had to put my bear razor heads on with resin, my nocks on with resin, that's the way I learned how to hunt a deer. We didn't have trail cameras. We didn't have tree stands. We had to make our own. All right. So, you're up there on a piece of plywood, totally unsafe. You didn't wear a safety belt. You wore your grandpa's or your dad's camo. You had a Walmart flashlight. You're lucky if you could afford to have a two-way radio at best. All right. You go out and you hunt that way, whatever you're hunting. Is there something to be said that this person, whatever they're hunting, if they're hunting it in a traditional way like that, versus I've got a Matthews Halon 6. The first time I shot that bow, I crapped my pants because everything that I had shot, including very good other bows, until this parallel limb stuff came out, I was like, dude, am I cheating? Like, it even drove me this year to go back to traditional equipment. So my point is about with everything, I think with all the advancements of hunting, where do you want to enjoy the sport at? And that's one positive that we have about whatever you hunt, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, the technology is always going to increase. I'm sure
you have the choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those debates that divides turkey hunters, which it's kind of sad because ultimately we need to be united and together.
Sure.
There's the TSS debate. There's all kinds of debates, and turkey hunting is probably just part of the culture. People like to stand on their side of the fence and say they're right, which is kind of funny. But
yeah, that's always the case, though, no matter what you hunt, right?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to current modern day duck hunting. It seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's always something with that. I mean, especially when you get into a state like Arkansas or something like that, the big thing this year was the state allowing mojos back on the WMAs.
Huge.
All of the local guys were pissed about it because they're like, man, it's like, and I kind of agree with them. It's taken some skill out of it and kind of leveling the playing field just a little bit from an out of stater perspective to potentially have the same. It gives you, at least for until the ducks get used to it again, it kind of levels the playing field a little bit,
or shot shell limit, or whatever it is. It just makes you hone in, right? Mm-hmm. No, that's good stuff. Yeah. Dude, Andrew, I said this before we got on the air, and I can't not forget this. So there was a couple. I grew up in an era of when you hunt with people on public land, you share information with people that you're like, yeah, dude, I could go sit around a fire and drink a beer with him and go kill some shit. When I met y'all, I definitely thought that. So there's a couple things that I'm going to tell you about that WMA.
Okay.
All right.
Anxiously awaiting.
Now,
can't wait.
Now, I don't know if I'm dropping bombs or not, but for us, it was incredible. One, bro, we saw a line of turkeys came through there one time that they just pretty much took over the whole WMA.
Well,
dude, there were so many that came through there.
Well, let me piggyback on that. When I saw that, I looked up on the state, and I'm sure you've seen this, Andrew. It's a quota to be able to turkey hunt there, and at least I think for the first 2 weeks or whatever, or first week or something. And I've been putting in for it for I think this is my third or fourth year, and I still didn't pull it. So I'm like, one of these years. But anyway, continue.
So you didn't get it this year?
Nah, man, I keep putting in for it. I think next year I'll have 4 priority points.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, dude, ton of turkeys out there. So, like, listen, go. If you can get out there, go do it.
Hey, I'll just tell you, against all my buddies' advice, I put in for that quota hunt, and I've drawn it in the past. So,
Oh, nice.
I actually was one of the lucky ones that got to hunt out there.
Oh, nice.
Well, you know that valley that we met you in? If you go right back up that ridge y'all were walking down, up close to the fence line, yeah, that's where you'll just you don't even have to try. No, but
yeah,
but
I won't tell you how I did, but maybe offline I'll tell you. But
yeah,
it definitely gets a lot of pressure there.
Yeah.
After the quota hunt, but we'll just keep the name of that WMA to ourselves.
That's right. And the other thing I will tell you about this WMA, and this goes back to where we met, and what we kind of talked full circle about this. If you go on our YouTube, Tristan's got a video of a 45-yard shot.
And it still doesn't name the WMA, by the way. Just
No, it doesn't.
That out there.
Yeah, and and dude,
I'd make you go back and delete it.
Yeah.
yeah, dude, we saw a ton of deer that morning, and it got to the point we were freezing our butts off, and I was filming, and I'm like, man, it feels like a good time for a spike to walk through. And no shit, like 11:30 in the morning or something, here comes a spike, and I go, he's gonna walk right in the open. Tristan's like, I'm gonna shoot him, and dude, he lets go the spirit of the wild. And it just smokes this deer, dude. 45 yards in the woods with a bow is just an incredible shot on a deer, especially a small Georgia spike. And that is what anything that made it better. Like, that deer meant so much from a meat perspective for
Oh, yeah, man.
like us, or well, mostly him. But that was like the main thing there. It's like, dude, we need meat.
Yeah.
You know, and he smokes this deer. Well, anyway, I think it was the same morning of that same weekend.
Same morning. Yeah.
We're sitting there, and we're looking pretty much where those turkeys were, and we're on that ridge where you and your wife came down, and I look over there and I'm like, dude, what is that, bro?
Yes, a black bear.
No, dude,
Oh,
piebald.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, dude, for 100% sure. There was too many deer, and they were just like far enough away that even with binoculars, you couldn't like tell how much of it was, but it was I would say a good ass cheek, at least, you know, if not more.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, the woods are really clear then, and it was really striking, but it was kind of a bummer that we couldn't get like better eyes even through binoculars through it, because it was, I mean,
I had my phone when I was filming. I tried to zoom in, you just couldn't see it.
Yeah, but it was just,
Dang.
it was just one of those things that was so striking, and it was for sure a group of deer, because you saw, I mean, it had to have been 10 plus of them. It was just no doubt about it. It was really
Yeah,
cool.
I would say a good fifth of the deer, at least, was that much white on it. You know, I mean,
And you've been in the woods, what? I mean, 40 something years? and
never
haven't seen
in
one?
my life.
Yeah.
I've been in so many different states deer hunting, and I don't even know. I've probably seen 100,000. I don't know how many deer, but I'd never seen that, and that was pretty cool to see. So that was 2 years ago. So, and we don't know if it was a doe or a buck or whatever, but there's some genes out there that are a little off.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's a chance. That's right. That's right. So anyway, but
Well, man,
No, man, that's super cool.
you got a good turkey story for us before we get out of here? Or your
Oh, man.
favorite one?
Let me think for a second. And you know, everyone says that the turkeys you remember most are the ones you don't kill. So me and a buddy got on a bird, and it was last year, and it was on his birthday, and it was on some public land. And I'll make a long story.
don't tell everybody it was September. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'll try to make it short. His
No.
birthday is Cinco de Mayo, so
Fair enough.
man, we get on this bird, and we had been hunting public all morning. I think we probably struck the bird at like 10:30, and he's, I don't know, probably 250 yards across this big field, and we're in the woods. So we try to make a move on him, get set up. I'm going to let him shoot because it's his birthday. And we call to him a little bit and kind of be quiet. And the field was kind of above us. And my buddy whose birthday it was kind of sitting on the edge of the field. And 10 minutes goes by and we don't hear anything. And I figure I'd check the bird, and I call, and I kid you not, that bird gobbles behind us and above us. Somehow the bird got through the field around both of us, got behind us, and he's 50 yards behind me. And that bird stayed behind me. I was pinned down. I couldn't move. And he stayed behind me and strutted and gobbled probably 100 times.
Oh my gosh.
And he ended up going into the field, and he was probably, I don't know, 70 yards away by the time he got into the field, and stood there and strutted. And it's probably like 1:00, and he kind of walked off. We could never, I mean, people will say never call a bird downhill, but he could see where we were. So we couldn't really call to him most of the time because he'll know there's not a hen down there, and he'll get scared and run off.
Mm-hmm.
So he finally gets far enough away in the field that we think we can crawl up to where he was and maybe call him back in. Well, we make this big loop around and get up on top and call him back in. And man, just the way the terrain was, he was probably within shotgun range of both of us for 30, 45 minutes, but it was so thick. We couldn't see him. I could hear him spitting and drumming. He couldn't have been more than 15 yards away from me. Could never see him. And then we never heard him again.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
we kind of get back together and we're like, man, what just happened? And we're both like, man, I don't know.
Oh man.
And we kind of sit there for 10 minutes just in shock. And it's about, I mean, we're beat, we're tired, we're about to leave. I'm like, well, I can't remember who called, but we tried him one more time, and he gobbled, and he was probably 200 yards across a big, I mean, there was a creek bottom. I mean, somehow he had covered that much ground in 10 minutes, and he was on the complete opposite block of woods where we had been.
Oh,
and man, we tried him again. We did the whole show and dance again, and I mean, he never came in. He'd sit there and gobble at 100 yards, and I guess I'll kind of rag on my buddy. He tried to crawl up and shoot him and spook the turkey, and we never killed him. So,
well, man, I don't blame him. Golly, I mean, I would have been just like freaking out.
I went back the next week, and I swear that bird came in again. I never heard him gobble, but I heard him behind me again, walking in the leaves. Could never see him, and then he disappeared. And we never, I mean, that was kind of towards the end of the season, but we call that bird Houdini. And I don't know if we'll ever chase him again, but he made us look like some complete fools that day.
Oh my gosh, man, that's a good one for not killing.
That
being a kill story. That's pretty. That you can't beat that.
Yeah, dude. No.
Yeah, I think we probably had like close to 5 hours of entertainment with that bird, and never killed him. He's probably out there getting ready to breed some hens this year. So.
He's the old wise one.
Yeah, and I wasn't even planning to discuss this, but you know, if you're just want to go turkey hunting, dude, let me tell you, this is so relatable to what you're talking about with your story, Andrew. So, you know, we didn't know what we were doing. I've been blowing a turkey call literally, like my stepdad gave me one when I was like 10, 11 years old, just to shut me up. Like, I think he just kept me from asking too many questions about deer hunting. He was just like, just put this in your mouth and figure it out. And I got good enough to where I thought, you know, I remember thinking when I was like 12, 13 years old, I was like, dude, that sounds like a turkey, you know, and got pretty good with it or whatever. And just never turkey hunted. It was just fun to me, you know, to do it. And so when we get back all into this turkey hunting thing, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, me and our buddy Hunter and Tristan and Drew, I think, was up there too. We go hunt this WMA. And I said, Hunter, you know, you come with me, and we're hunting in pairs. And Hunter, you come with me, and we're just going to go walk all these roads on this WMA, and we see this hen, and we don't know what we're doing, dude. We got a Jake decoy and a hen decoy, and my mouth call. That's it. And I got my gun, he's got his gun. But I said, do you want coffee that doesn't suck? Get the Duck. Dirty Duck coffee is made specifically for the waterfowl enthusiast. Enjoy flavors like Morning Wood, Dark Dynasty, Cinnamon Teal Snickerdoodle, and First Flight to unlock the flavor that you'll enjoy in the blind for years to come. Our friends at Dirty Duck Coffee Company are now offering all Zero Duck 30 followers a 15% discount when you use code ZeroDuck15 on your next order. See this hen on this road, and she just runs into the woods, and we're dumb, and I'm just thinking about it from like a buck rutting a doe type of thing or something. I'm like, well, dude, if there's a hen here, listen, if I'm a dude, I know where the hens are at. Like I know what ladies' nights on Wednesday nights. I know that because I live here, right? And I'm like, if this hen lives here, there's some dude that knows that she lives here. So I just told Hunter that. I go, so you sit up on this big log, I'm going to sit up behind you. And I said, and I'm just going to act like I'm her. And we're just going to call every once in a while. And it was just all these Georgia pines, but on this big, fire lane or whatever. And dude, I just did it a few times or whatever. We sat there, and quite honestly, I would just I thought, do we even know what the F we're doing? I'm like, I'm trying my best based on limited knowledge to try to get Hunter on this turkey. And I won't forget, dude, I had hit that call. I did a couple things or whatever. And I'm sitting there, and there was you'll know this is far south because there's palm fronds everywhere, right? I'm sitting there against this tree. Well, I'm facing away from Hunter. Hunter's behind me on the other side of the tree, facing out towards the road. I'm facing back in the woods. And I'm just sitting there daydreaming. And I did remember that a buddy said, dude, be always ready. He said, these turkeys in the South, sometimes they just won't ever say, they won't do nothing. And I know Osceolas are big about that, about not gobbling. But he said they're public land, they're shy, all that stuff, right? And so I had the gun I was sitting in that traditional position with the gun, kind of up on my knee or whatever. And dude, right in front of me at 15 yards, I was like, ah! This gobbler, dude, with a big giant beard just walks and stops right in front of me. And all I could think about is, dude, my gun's pointing right at him. He's about to die. And all I really had to do is really maybe move an inch. No lie. Like, I was ready. I didn't have to move at all. And I'm thinking Hunter's going to shit his pants because, boom, he's on the other side of this tree facing the other way. He has no clue. Dude, and I go to shoot and click.
Man, you must have a Benelli.
It's a version of it. They call it a Frankite.
Frankie.
A Frankie. Dude, I go click.
Oh man, that's the worst noise in the woods,
bro.
Right there.
I'm not even going to tell you the heart attack. I mean, if you're a turkey hunter, please say that you're dying right now, because I'm telling you, bro, I had a million things going through my head going. The first thing I'm thinking is rock that shell and throw forward another one, right? And dude, I was like, if I don't do nothing, maybe he'll walk off a little bit in those palm fronds again, and I can figure it out, whatever. But, or best case scenario, we can come back later or tomorrow and get after this turkey. And at least, I thank God I had the wherewithal to just at least say, man, maybe we can come back and get him tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I cannot tell you the anxiety, bro. I wanted to, but as I didn't have the confidence that I was going to be able to rock a new shell and make that happen. But 15 yards, dude. I mean, beautiful blue head. He wasn't alerted at all, but he snuck in the back way and
that's crazy.
Man, dude, it was just, so I feel for you guys without getting that turkey and not being able to see him and all that stuff. This damn turkey.
Yeah, man, it's turkeys will humble you, but I mean that's kind of what makes it fun. Is for whatever reason they've got such a small brain, but man, they'll outsmart you every day of the week.
But why didn't it go off, dude? I mean, dude, it was so easy. If I would have had my bow, I wouldn't have. Yes, I could have missed it. I mean, but it's funny why things happen, right? So
did you ever get them? Or no?
Nope, we didn't get him. We had a friend. It was actually a WMA that our friends had private land that bordered it, and they would let us put our camper there and then hunt there. So we couldn't hunt their land because they had family that all hunted, deer hunted, pig hunted, and everything else. But they let us put a trailer there, and we could go over to this public land, which was pretty big. I mean, it was thousands of acres, and another one across the river from that. And it really is kind of a sleeper turkey area, and I remember that
I jumped them several times during deer season
Oh,
off
yeah.
those fire lanes. I mean, the only problem is it's 3.5 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking to the Georgia folks out there, if you want me to give it away, I will tell you this. Between the two WMAs that border this river, it's like you're on two different parts of the North America continent. It is so different. It's so crazy. I've never seen anywhere like that the diversity of the way that the terrain is, and from mud to rock to trees to
Hills.
Oh, dude, it's just crazy how different it is. It's just so completely different on both sides, and they're both really, really big WMAs.
Yep. Well, man, we've appreciated having you on tonight. It's been great just talking turkeys and learning from you and stuff. People
Dude,
that
you need to come over here and drink a beer.
yeah, we'll do it in person
sure.
next time for sure. But
Yeah, it was fun. You guys gonna turkey hunt this year and get after them?
yeah, I think so. I mean, we just honestly, I mean, we are so tied up with the ducks and deer that when it comes to turkey season, it's kind of like we'll go out there. It's nice to get out in the woods and like we'll give it our best shot. But it's like if we don't have like these high expectations where if we don't get one, we're gonna be upset.
It's more of an excuse.
Yeah, it's more of an excuse to get out in the woods and we'll see.
And we know, man, we just know that really, with so many nice folks and friends that we have, there's a lot of places we could go. And if we spent the time, I know we could be successful at it, especially with, like you said, mentorship, find somebody that knows what they're doing. We have so many great people, including you, that would probably help us out, and it's just a matter of that life balance. I mean, really, at the end of the day,
that's key.
I just got I shot a fall turkey in Missouri, like with my bow years ago, but just, I guess it was not this past year, but the year before I got my first turkey on public land up in about an hour north of here. That was really cool just to get my first, but it was one of those deals that wasn't like the traditional. We kind of had to deer hunt this turkey. We figured out
that was the only way you could hunt. I mean, a good friend of ours said, "This is how you're gonna have to hunt this turkey."
Yeah, it was on public. And long story short, we over the course of several, days, really over a couple weeks when we could get out there or whatever, we saw in the mornings, like you said, you come up to a gate. We went out there opening morning, right? And there's like 3 trucks parked at this gate. And we're like, well, screw this. We're not hunting today. We went back and crappie fished. But, we're, as the season progressed, we thought, maybe less people will get out there. And we started going out there during the morning, not having any luck. And then we, somehow we stumbled upon this field and we saw them out in the field, like in the early afternoon.
No, I said that the previous year I was out there in the middle of the day and saw all these turkeys. I go, what the hell? Let's go walk out there in the middle of the day.
Yeah. So basically they were doing the same thing, I guess.
A year later.
Yeah. And we just happened to see them or whatever. So we went out there and tried to catch them in the evening and put a solo decoy out and tried calling at it and got busted. And we're like, well, must be public land, right? And long story short, we ended up figuring out that we're not going to be able to call to this. Oh, Siri's talking on my watch. We're not going to be able to call it this thing. We're not going to be able to put a decoy out. These birds are too smart or whatever, and basically just lucked out and it fed close enough to it.
Well,
and,
what we did is, like you said, you guys moved real quickly to get on that turkey because that's where you felt comfortable at.
Yeah.
That's what we did the next time and said, by damn, he won't beat us out here.
yeah,
And we'll be out there hours ahead of time. And we just knew where he felt comfortable in that field and said, that's how we're going to hunt him based on he's going to do the same thing again. And of course he didn't. He came out and stalled for hours and hours and hours before he made us have heart attacks.
yeah, and it ended up being like 11-inch beard, and I think almost like an inch and 5/8 or inch and 7/8 spurs or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds like an old turkey right there.
Yeah, dude, he ended up being a good one. He really did.
I guess I was pretty lucky. I guess for public land in Georgia.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a great accomplishment there.
Well, and it was to the point where we had to hunt him out of a blind. There was no other way. I mean, our buddy that hunts,
Well, we didn't have to, but we were just like,
no, but he knew that we were rookies,
Yeah.
kind of, and he was like, "You guys got a pop-up blind." He's like, "Get it out there," And important with turkeys too is to have that pop-up blind. There was a ridge behind us, so it blended in really well. But it got so dramatic in that blind. I mean, I can't remember how long it was from point A to when we first saw him to point B when
we saw him at like
fi-
1 and we shot him at 3:30.
Yeah. So
Oh,
we had
man.
to watch this bird sit out there under this tree going, is he going to come? Is he not? All this stuff. And we have a limited time during turkey season for sure to hunt. And dude, when he started walking towards us, Tristan goes, quit filming. And I go, what? And he goes, quit filming. And I go, are you serious? He goes, dude, we're not.
I just didn't even want to risk it.
Yeah, I
'cause
didn't want to risk it.
I don't know. I mean, I call it your like hunter toolbox or whatever. And with deer, like I know what I can get away with, to like when I can pull my bow back.
Good point.
and stuff like that. With this turkey,
We didn't know.
You hear
No.
about their eyesight, and I'm like, man, we cannot screw one thing up.
Well, and growing up, honestly, growing up all my life hunting in Illinois, you could shoot a turkey during fall season. And I swear it was like a 25-year challenge to even reach over and grab your bow in front of a turkey. Because, dude, I mean, I would be like, how in the freaking hell, like 60 yards away in the woods, that this turkey, you can tell when they're startled, and it,
Oh yeah.
and you're like, son of a gun, And so going into all this time, growing up as a kid, never being able to even get a full draw on a turkey. And then Tristan's like, shut up, I'm like, I can't, he can't see through this hole in the netting of the blind. I'm like, maybe he can, so you don't want the sun to come off it or whatever it might be. And, so though that one got to be just, we'll always remember that in our minds and our hearts for sure.
we
So
call it our turkey.
our turkey is what we call it. Yep.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
Thanks, man. Yeah. But hey, people that want to follow what you're doing with the page and just learn some good info, what's your guys' Instagram? Or what's your Instagram for Georgia
Yes.
Wild Turkey?
Yeah, it's just Georgia Wild Turkey Project on Instagram, and man, we're just trying to get some education out there, and just trying to, basically just, when I think of the future, I want my kids and grandkids to be able to have the same opportunity to turkey hunt like we do today. So anything that I think will promote turkey conservation is basically what I'm putting out there. So
That's great stuff.
well,
man.
and dude, and for real, like, let's get together. Let's go eat somewhere. Something. Let's get together. It's too close to not. At least go have a little bit of social time. Or
Yeah.
come over here, and if you like catching crappie, dude, we can smoke them out back.
oh man, I love crappie fishing. So let's do it sometime.
10:30 to 1.
Sounds good, man. And also, I've been plugging on the podcast, and I'll tell you too. There's a Delta Waterfowl chapter that just started up, I guess, about a year and a half ago in like Noonan, and they're doing an event May 9th in Johns Creek. They're doing like their, I think, second or third banquet. But I've been trying to tell everybody I know in Georgia about it. help grow their chapter and stuff. So yeah, if y'all aren't doing anything or know anybody that duck hunts or whatever, let them know.
Duck Hunters Organization.
Yeah,
go.
send it to me. My parents live in Johns Creek, so maybe we can make something happen.
Awesome, man. Well, sounds good.
Good stuff, man.
Well, I appreciate it, Andrew. Have a good night, man.
Take care.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, take care.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down, standing in the pouring rain.